Really interesting yesterday. Lewis, you tweeted, abolish joint practices, abolish preseason games, abolish minicamp and OTAs, abolish hitting too hard. Hell, maybe abolish the regular season too and just pick the playoff teams based on what they did the year before. Would that make everyone happy? Never heard so much complaining about everything in my life. Lewis, what is it that had you so aggravated last night?
Just reading and listening to all these people talk about the fact that, beginning in the offseason, right, about how, OTAs and mini camps don't mean anything. Those are a waste of time. Joint practices, they're a waste of time. They don't get anything out of that. Preseason, you're just risking guys to injury. They don't mean anything. Get rid of those. Last year's schedule is the one that we kind of go ahead and really project as far as strength of schedule and project teams, forecast their record this year. It's like, It's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Why are we always complaining about everything? At some point in time, let's just play the game. Let's just get out there. Let's hit a little bit. Let's make sure that we understand what football's all about. I don't understand this mentality of always wanting to do less, but we want more.
Here's what it comes from.
I can't stand that.
I understand. Here's what it comes from as a fan. When one of your team's players gets hurt, in something that isn't a game, it is the worst possible scenario.
Of course it is.
There's nothing worse.
Of course it is.
Someone important just went down with a knee untouched in practice or something like that. So your immediate thought is, well, why are they even doing this? Just get to the game.
Look, I understand that. And you know what? This kind of probably really unearths a whole nother discussion about off-season training regimens, whether or not it should be a little bit more football specific, a little bit more football activity. Should that be taking place in the off-season? Is that leading to then training camp and regular season injuries? Have we gone a little bit too far away from actually playing the game and actually in training different ways? Look, there's a whole bunch of layers to this. I just really get tired of the fact that we are getting so far away from the game being played on the field and taking so much of the preparation away. I just think personally, it's starting to hurt the game a little bit. It's starting to hurt players a little bit.
Greedy, there's something very fundamental to Lou's point, which is the physicality of the sport. If you're going into a boxing match, a boxer's going to spar to get ready. We're not talking about basketball, baseball, hockey. Physicality is part and parcel of our sport. The only way you're going to get ready is to practice that physicality. And look, unfortunately, that's the tax you pay sometimes. Look, we lost Ryan Tannehill one year to a preseason, season-ending non-contact injury. There's nothing worse than that, but that is part of the sport. I don't know how else you can get your team ready to go.
Hawk, what do you think? Do we need to abolish the preseason, abolish these joint practice, abolish all this stuff and put the players in bubble wrap until week 1?
No, it doesn't need to be a zero-sum game. We definitely need the preseason. We definitely need OTAs. And I would agree with Lewis and Mike that the physicality and how you prepare for football is through football. Specifically with the joint practices, though, the idea of minimizing the preseason, doing less preseason games, then adding more joint practices. Some teams do multiple joint practices. From my experience, when I've done joint practices, it feels like 3 games in a row, 3 days of games, because that physicality is ever present. It doesn't feel like a practice. Not that you're trying to minimize football. It's that how can you make it safer? Well, it's hard when those competitive juices are as high as they are because you're not my team. Yeah. You're not a guy I need to save. You're not a guy that I need to make sure we have in week 5. I'm going to give you everything I have, which is why the tempers flare, which is why it's so taxing on the body. I just think specifically through joint practices, it is a way to literally have multiple games in a week level of intensity, which does help the front office make decisions, but it is tough on a player's body.
And this is why you wind up with some of the nonsense like we had with the Cowboys and Saints. Cindy, if we can roll that just for those who haven't seen it yet, the Cowboys and Saints got into just I think you could only describe this as a melee yesterday.
But again, Green, let's give Brian Schottenheimer credit. I don't think we're going to see this again. He did not just put this on the Saints. He took it upon himself to say, hey, we started some of this too, and that's not acceptable. Lou mentioned last hour that old school is, hey, let's go cut a few players. I don't know if we'll see that, but I'd be surprised if we saw the Cowboys fight again.
You know what? I think a message needs to be sent. Players need to be held accountable for this kind of behavior. Look, I understand that football is a tough game. It's an emotional game. I'm not going to say that I've never swung at a player. I'm saying this, though. In mass, when you're trying to get this kind of work done, if you really want to, dispense justice on a guy and you really want to kind of like prove a point to a guy, there's plenty of opportunity to do it between the white lines. There's plenty of opportunity for you to do the kind of things and get out the kind of aggression that you need to get out. Swinging on players without helmets, risking hurting your hand, risking hurting another fellow player, and doing that kind of suplexing people on the sideline with no helmet on. I mean, that's just BS to me. Like that kind of stuff, I think players need to hold themselves accountable and say, look, I need to step away from this. I need to really kind of like handle this between the white lines because you're really putting yourself at risk here. And it's just a bad look for the game.
I'm smiling because I'm just thinking of something the great Tom Jackson once said to me when I was a young anchor here. We were talking, somehow the conversation, I wasn't having a conversation with him. I was listening to a conversation he was having with Boomer. And Tom Jackson said, between the lines on a football field is the only place on earth where assault is legal. And that's the difference. Right. The assault is it is legal, it is expected, it is accepted, and you can take care of business however you want to before the whistle blows.
There is plenty of opportunity for you to get out plenty of aggression in the course of a play. Now, I understand they have taken a lot of that aggression that Tom Jackson and guys of that era used to play with, and I understand why they have. They needed to make the game safer in many respects because I'm telling you what, there was some stuff going on the field back then in the 80s and 90s when I played. I'm telling you, it was unbelievable now. But players just need to hold themselves accountable with this fighting.
All right, so they're telling me to look at Shefty's Twitter on my phone, and I just did. So I don't know that this is related to that fight, but the Saints, who just had this injury with Jordan Tyson, right? We know that Tyson, their star potential rookie wide receiver, is going to miss up to 2 months with a hamstring. Now, Alvin Kamara expected to be out for the next month at least, according to Shefty, due to a sprained MCL. That's bad.
Yeah, you hope they're not related. Now, remember, they did sign Trevor Etienne in the offseason, so the cupboard isn't bare. But Alvin Kamara is obviously a really good player you hate to lose now.
Yeah. I mean, look, we need some more context as to how this happened. I mean, did somebody fall into him, that kind of thing.
Yes, I want to make it clear. I don't know that it has anything to do with that fight.
But it's hard. Look, I mean, the Saints right now, for a team that looks so promising, that could really be challenging in the South, to lose Tyson and now lose him.
Right.
I mean,
that's brutal.
Just not good.
That's a team a lot of people love, and I know it hurts you to your core because of your love for Tyler Shuck.
And
obviously that's not so good. There's other sneaky big news today, and that is that the Giants have added running back Najee Harris to their roster. He played just 3 games last year.
He's looking good
before he tore his Achilles. Right now, physically looking good. And Mike T, you were telling us this morning there's at least one reason you can think of why they may have made this move.
Yes, this is a message-sending transaction. Tyrone Tracy right here misses a very simple blitz pickup and puts Jackson Dart in the blue medical tent. John Harbaugh is saying, this is unacceptable. This will not happen. And if you want to play for us as a running back, you will be a much better pass protector. Come in, Najee Harris. I promise you, Tyrone Tracy is going to take pass protection a lot more seriously moving forward.
Whose book does this come from?
This is Bill Parcells 101.
What do you make of this? Because obviously that was we talked about it a lot yesterday.
Oh, it absolutely makes sense. Look, every running back coach, every offensive coordinator, every head coach, every GM talks about running backs and whether or not they are trustworthy in pass protection ad nauseum. It's something that everyone understands. You whiff like that and you get your franchise quarterback hit, I promise you, he caught an earful on the sideline, in the meeting room, and the personnel department was going, who else can we get in there?
Yeah.
Because we want to put the heat on people. You can't have that happen. You just can't have it happen.
And to make it worse, Hawk, not only does the quarterback get lit up, but next he winds up in the blue tent, and then he was, after the game, sort of complaining about being singled out because he always is sent to the blue tent.
Yep.
So, Hawk, so much attention winds up being placed on that play, and it all stems from that one obvious missed block.
Yeah, you got to know alignment, assignment, and your duties as an NFL football player, that whatever your ability is, whatever that level is, there's a professionalism that is involved with it, that this whole season hinges on Jackson Dart being healthy, him staying out of the blue medical tent. I love that take from Mike T, because that is absolutely the reason why they brought Najee Harris in at this point in the season, at this point in camp, because if we can't rely on you, we will go find someone off the street that we can.
Okay, next thing, I want to introduce you to my new favorite player in baseball.